Hi, this is Frank Spillers with Frankly Speaking. I want to talk to you today just a little bit about why we do what we do and why the BWUCA way works. When you welcome, understand, comfort, and appreciate everybody and create that type of environment for people to work in, people to live in, and children to grow up with. We start out in our sessions, we start out and explain about brain plasticity. In other words, how the brain develops. In the first 2,000 days, the first 5 years of a child's life, even before, a little bit before that, in the third trimester, before they're born, a child is connecting neurons. These neurons, and this is what your brain looks like, these neurons are connecting at a rate of about 700 per second from the third trimester up and through the first 5,000 days. That is critical to brain development and to people development. If you want to even talk about our next workforce, it's critical of how that brain develops and the environment that we put those children in and the environment that they grow up in and the environment that we create for them, that they can become who they can become because of these connections. Now, these connections mean this. If you have a thought, that's a neuron connection. If you have an action, that's a neuron connection. If you have a habit, that's a neuron connection that's stronger than any other neuron connection. 96% of what we do is on a subconscious level. That means 4% of what we do, we're actually thinking about what we do. So everything else is just how we have been trained to believe, how we have been trained to act. Let me show you how that happens with a child. Okay, and we're having 700 of these neuron connections per second as a child is starting to grow up. So as this child grows up here, and as we look at this diagram of what a child is, this is a child without a conscious mind. In other words, a child without a filtering mechanism, because they haven't reached the age of ability to reason yet. They don't know, based upon their experiences, they don't know what to believe or what not to believe. Usually this is between the ages of 0 and 4, but it varies with people. And even you can ask yourself, how old was I before I could remember? Or what age was I when I had my first memory? I'll put it a different way. How old were you when you can remember your first thought? Usually it happens in our workshops, it happens between 3 and 4 is a most common age, and that's what the response that we get. So then we tell people, we say, okay, think back to day one, the time you were born. Do you remember? No, but who was training you? What kind of environment was set for you as people were around there in the house that you were growing up in, the family that you have? Children learn, and everybody learns, through their 5 senses, the 5 senses that we have. It comes through the sight of what you see, what you feel, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste. Those 5 senses from your environment create your learning. That creates your learning. And so you start to connect those neurons through your 5 senses. And because of that 5 senses, you do something. All right? Because if you're crying, as a baby is crying, you're crying, and what result do you get as a result of crying? Somebody comes, somebody picks you up, somebody feeds you, somebody changes you. That is the result of your action. And then you start to get your belief mechanism going in your belief system. As you cry, somebody comes and does something that you want. Then you start to say, if I cry, I get this. That's my belief. That is how a belief mechanism is created. It's a cycle based upon coming through your 5 senses before the age of ability to reason, create your actions get the results, your results then become your belief system, and it goes back into your environment, and that's how you start to get habits. So as a child learns this before the age of the ability to reason, they don't filter. They have no definition of what's right or what's wrong. They just absorb it, just like you would a computer. You're just programming them to act in a certain way based upon the way that they're coming in, and their program is looking at through their 5 senses. Now fast forward a little bit to where you are. You're at the age of ability to reason. You have a filtering mechanism. In other words, you have a conscious mind. You know what you believe. You know what you're looking for. However, you're still learning through your five senses. That comes through your conscious mind. You say, yes, I believe it. No, I don't believe it. It creates the actions based upon what you can do. You get the results still. You get the results off your actions, which then still becomes your belief system. So your actions get your results. That becomes your belief system, and that goes back into your environment. And that is how you're creating your habits. And so we have the capability and the ability to respond in any way. And it's our responsibility that we start acting and creating an environment to where kids are growing up. They are knowing the right from wrong. They're not looking at the negative. They're not seeing the violence. They're seeing people love each other. They are seeing people act in an adult manner. This has got to create that environment in the workplace, in your family, in your community, and just as an individual within yourself. You have the ability to respond to yourself in a certain way. And when it happens in here, it's going to happen out there. But that is how those neurons are connected. That is how we become who we are. That is how we grow children. That is how our environment's set to where they're going to go. The BWUCA way is all about setting those environments, about creating those environments on how you welcome, understand, comfort, and appreciate yourself and others. It's something that we do. We work with businesses and we work with communities, we work with individuals, and we work with schools. Creating those environments to where people grow up and people can get along is extremely important, specifically nowadays. If you're interested in becoming a WUCA environment facility, a WUCA environment classroom, a WUCA business, a WUCA school, let us help you. Give us a call, and we'd love to work with you. The BWUCA way. This is Frank Spillers. This is Frankly Speaking. Stay tuned. We'll teach you more.